Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera to everybody. Welcome again to the MPC Chemical Productivity Nexus webinar series. For those who are here, congratulations for having the courage to keep on learning despite these difficult times. Prayers, especially for our friends and frontliners who are affected. Let's pray things will recover soon. Ladies and gentlemen, reduction of food waste during operations is an activity gaining popularity. Large amounts of food is being wasted throughout the food supply chain in primary production, during distribution and sale of food products, the preparation and serving of food in commercial and domestic environments. The tallest twin towers in the world is Malaysia's Petronas Twin Towers, standing at 451.9 meters tall. Now try to imagine 16 of these twin towers being filled to the brim with food waste. This could well be the reality if we don't do something about the problem of food waste. Ladies and gentlemen, according to the Solid Waste Management and Public Cleansing Corporation, SWCOP, by 2020, the total amount of food waste can certainly fill up 16 of the twin towers. And here's another fact. Malaysians waste about 16,688 tons of food per day, an amount that can easily feed around 2.2 million people 3 times a day. So how do we manage these greenhouse gas contributors? What is meant by a circular economy approach in handling food waste at source? How long can we preserve the value of resources, raw materials, energy, and water? And to what extent, given the COVID-19 pandemic background? Ladies and gentlemen, we have two speakers today, and our first speaker is Ms. Chelsea Chi, founder and group CEO of Mentari Alam Eco Malaysia Sdn Bhd. As a transformational leader and visionary in business combining both high technology and impact-driven costs, Chelsea has always been looking for a pioneering business for the environment. A lifetime in building businesses, both in the field and corporate experiences, give Chelsea an edge in creating business ideas and skills in founding Meiko. Founding Meiko was magical, bringing together the core values of Meiko: less wasteful, more useful. Brings Chelsea even closer to finding the main purpose in building a business embedding a circular economy principle to conserve Mother Earth by valorizing food waste into resource to grow food. Her 25 years of experience in running businesses has made her believe it is you in every business and not the business in you. Maybe she can explain more on that. And her topic is a global award-winning food waste management technology. If you have any questions, please use the chat box to write your questions and I will convey the questions to the speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Miss Chelsea Chi. Miss Chelsea.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you, Inchik, and Helmi for the introduction. It was fantastic. The statistics that was given was also very amazing. Yeah. Okay. I founded Meiko, of course, in short, from Mentari Alam Eco Malaysia Sdn Bhd. We are commonly known as Meiko. We founded Meiko in 2011, carrying with us, as you can see on the slide, a tagline that says, today's food waste, tomorrow's food fuel. Let us explain a little bit later on this. As you go along, you will understand why this tagline has always been with us over the years. So we started in 2011. We started with research and development for 4 years. So after that, we stepped foot into the industry officially in 2015 when we deployed our first machine to a resort in Borneo. Thank you to them. The machine is still now running very efficiently and is also producing compost for them to be used for their landscaping. Now, the mission of the company is very simple. I'm sure you would like to know as well. To divert food waste from the landfills and tackle it at source. Now, that is very important. So let us look into some of the statistics that we have. Of course, we must first know what's happening globally and also in Malaysia. Now, you can see here that each year, 1.3 billion tons of food waste is generated globally. Now, all these, if you look closely, Malaysia is ranked 5 in food wastage per person. Now, if you take this food waste greenhouse emission as a country, you can see that we stand after China and US as the 3rd largest greenhouse gas emitter globally. Now, this is a very, very alarming statistics that we can see. Now, when we come back to Malaysia, okay, this is what we can see. We are generating waste of 38,000 tons on a daily basis. Now, out of that 38,000 tons that we throw away, 15,000 tons of them are food waste. Right now, based on the latest statistics you can see by SW Corp, you can see that now it has reached 16,667 tons on a daily basis. Now, where are all these things all focused? Now you can see that now in Malaysia, 78% of the total population are concentrated in urban city. Now, because of that, you can see that the food waste is also concentrated in these kind of areas. Now, especially in Kuala Lumpur, you can see that 3,000 tons of food waste is generated on a daily basis. Now, this statistic was only based on 2016. Now, what happens now? You can see the statistics later as well. Now, okay, so all this food waste has actually created and generated an impact on environmental issues. Now, what are these environmental issues that we're talking about? Now, global warming is one of them. Now, as you can see, food waste decompose in the landfills, now generating methane gas. Now, that, of course, traps about 25 times more heat than carbon dioxide. And that's basically contributing to the global warming. Now, the other thing that we're looking here is the methane gas. Now, of course, we understand it's toxic. So, and this methane gas from food waste makes up to basically 7% of total global greenhouse gas emission. Now, this is also very alarming if you look into a global 7% on a global basis. Now, the other thing that is creating impact to the environment is high carbon footprint. Now, why is that so? In Malaysia itself, all the trucks, they pull or haul away food waste in their trucks, and they haul away to the landfills or they haul away to waste transfer stations. That, of course, creates carbon footprint. Now, as I said earlier, on our mission basis, we are looking at tackling at source, and that basically can reduce carbon footprint tremendously. Now, when we look into landfills, now landfills, a lot of people are talking about landfills overloading, you know, a 30-year landfill now, it's being filled up in just 15 years, 20 years, you know, and all these locations of landfills are going further and further away, which makes, of course, generates again high carbon footprints when you haul food waste or any other waste to the landfills, which is now located further away. Now, the other impact is the industrial impact. Now, if the landfills or waste transfer stations are located further and further away, then your haulage cost is going to be on the rise. So you pay more for disposing your waste. All right, so these are all the impacts that is causing issues. Yeah. Okay. Now, if you look at landfilling, whatever it is, landfilling is still the most commonly practiced waste disposal method in Malaysia. Yes, we have targets in 2020 where we want to recycle, we want to do composting, we want to do incineration, but by far now, landfilling is still the most practiced waste disposal method in Malaysia. Now, when we look into food waste, that's the main focus now because that's the highest percentage of waste that is being thrown into the landfills. There are various food waste management approaches. So let's look into what are the approaches. Yeah. Now, the most commonly waste management approach would be offsite solutions. Now, what are the offsite solutions that are now we have? Yeah, we have windrow method, which is commonly used now in palm oil estates, even farms where they have large space. Right now, of course, you can see that this is also commonly practiced at smaller scale waste sites where they have enough space for them to put, you know, and pile it up, you know, and do whatever is necessary for the composting. Now, this will basically take about 2 to 3 month cycle. So we say that there are challenges. Of course, we appreciate that they are all doing whatever it is that they can also practice that on site at the farm itself. But the only challenges is you need a huge space. And of course, it's a slower, all right, 2 to 3 month cycle. Now, the other way,
the vermicomposting is talking about worms,
yes,
earthworms,
yes.
or things like that.
So, yes, it's a type of worm, of course. We don't the commonly used word would be vermicomposting, but of course, yeah, you have to take into consideration of worms. Now, all the night crawlers, or that there are specific worms for this composting method. Now, of course, this application is also a centralized application where a facility is required. Now, when a facility is required, of course, there will also be some challenges to this. Why do I say that? Now, worms are basically very selective in their food waste. Now, there are certain things you can't compose, or you can't put it in for them, because they'll be very choosy. Either they fall sick and die on you. So the other thing is they're also very environmental affected. It cannot be, they have to have certain temperature, the environment of the food waste that comes in, and then it's slower. It takes also about 2 to 3 month cycle. And of course, if they die or they run away because of the food waste, as a uncontrolled food waste, then you will have to buy the worms again, right? So there will be cost to that. So the other approach will be black soldier fly. A lot of people are talking about this. The short, of course, the short little word for black soldier fly that is normally used is BSF. You can hear this many now. A lot of people are doing this. Now the application is also a centralized facility, so it's required on a commercial scale. Of course, food waste is also very selective. They are very selective food waste, and even more so, a very controlled environment is required. So it has to be properly monitored. Yeah. So this cycle is slightly shorter. It's about 45-day cycle, right? So the other thing that many are talking about as well is the anaerobic digestion. Now the anaerobic digestion takes about 14 days, a shorter cycle, also required a centralized facility. So if you have a very limited food waste, the challenges is you need a large quantity of food waste. So if you have very limited, then the gas will not be produced in a proper manner for you to do your cooking and etc. Now, the other thing is this method has been practiced quite some time already, but it is mainly practiced in farms where they digest manure. So manure produces better gas. You don't need such larger quantities like food waste. So you need also another challenge that you may also need to look into is the additional installation that is required, proper piping systems, and of course housing that is proper for this installation. Yeah. So when we look at this, we found out over the years that there would be better approaches for urban. Yeah. For city solutions. So basically, Meiko came up with this technology, and which we developed based on the mimicry solution, where we combine both mechanical and biological activity. All right. So what do I mean by mimicry? So we're going to mimic your little stomach. That we don't call it this biological stomach, but it's going to be your steel stomach. So we combine both our microbial solutions and a mechanical system that, of course, why? Because we are now basically locating this in a more decentralized facility, or I wouldn't say facility, your building or your premise, and that's why it has to be composted, or the process has to be done in a shorter period of time, like 24 hours. Okay, and of course, why do you say it's going to be a food fuel? Your food waste will be a food fuel, because this technology that we have developed basically converts food waste into a compost, yeah, for your farming and also landscaping. Now, okay, in a very simple way, you can look at this. You would ask me, okay, now you have a technology like that. So now, is your machine very selective? No, we have developed this very easy to use machine where it's not going to be very selective. We're not choosy. We're not vegetarians. We are not fruitarians. So we don't only take veggie or fruits. We take your raw waste, your crustacean shells, your egg shells. If you are drinking, in Malay we call it food soup tulang. You can put it in as well. And if you like to go for spaghetti, you can put in your leftover spaghetti sauce, or even if you're unfinished or spoiled food. Yeah. So you can put cooked and uncooked. So all you need to do is just input it into this very friendly machine. We call it, we have branded it Meiko as well. And in just a short 24 hours, we just churn it, and then it composes without, it's very hassle-free, and you get very dry, ready to use compost. All right. So the uniqueness would be, why we would say that this is very unique. Number one, we are very scalable, right? So the technology fits to all capacity of solutions. You can choose for example, you have a restaurant, for example, that generates about 100 kilo or 50 kilo, 100 kilo of food waste a day. So you can start off with a smaller. You say, okay, I would like to try Could I start off with a smaller machine first? Yes, you can do so because it fits to all that. We have a range of different models that can fit to all the capacity that is required. Now, it's fast adoption. All you need to do is have a little space and power supply. You can just put it there and start using. So you don't, no hassle in extra installation. You don't need piping system. You don't need a big filtration chimney, or you don't need an extra machine, whatever it is that you need to do with it for segregation. So no.
Chelsea, can I ask one question from the audience?
Oh yes,
is this
okay.
suitable for is this suitable for household use?
Okay, at the moment, I will come to that. Our smallest is not for household use yet, but I'm very happy to tell you that we will do a session next week again to share with everyone that we have come up with a beautiful little baby to our family. We have in Malaysia itself, we've started with the commercial market, but the household itself, now we have developed a little baby to the family. We will be presenting next week. Stay tuned. It's going to be, of course, you can please log into our Facebook, like us, follow us. You can, we'll be talking about this household unit next Thursday. Yeah, so stay tuned. Right, okay, we'll come back to this. Thank you for the question. We are fast adoption, okay, as I said earlier, and it's a city solution, meaning to say we can start right away. And by doing city solution and tackling your food waste at source, you basically reduce the carbon footprint, and of course, minimizing or even reducing your haulage cost by a certain percentage. All right, okay. Now, the next thing we want to look at is the other uniqueness is all in one. As I say, no piping, no extra filtration needed. Everything is built in, it's all in one, it's quick. There's no foul smell. The filtration is already built in. The compost is dry. It's not sludgy. It's not. There's no leachate. There's no gas output which is toxic. No, all those. It's just very simple. The dry output will be just dry, and it's ready to use for your landscaping. Or if you have your herbal garden, you can use it there. So no segregation, secondary segregation. What I mean by secondary segregation is you see bones, you put it in. All right, we don't, as I say, we are not vegetarian. The machine is not a fruitarian. So if you see bones, please put in. You see your curry sauce, please put in. You see your dal, please put in. Now, if you happen to have tried any Sichuan delicacies, spicy and oily, please put in. Or we have cultured our microbes in such a way that it tackles all that. It's then very easy to operate. You don't need a professor or a doctor to operate the machine, right? Okay, so again, you may want to see what can put in, what cannot put in, so you can see that all these are the things that you can put in. Of course, for coconuts, I would stress that the coconuts, we will have larger machines to put in the coconuts. Okay, all right, so plastic, you will say that, oh, what if I put in plastic straws or plastic bags or plastic spoon and fork, all this single-use plastic, what happens? There you go. You can see that the plastic is there. Other than that, everything has been composted. If it's organic, if it's food waste, has been composted. The leftover would be the plastics. It could be form shape. Just pick it up and throw it away. Okay. All right. So we have our machine, very scalable, suitable for all different industries. We have different sizes for preschools, for restaurants. Now we have them here at food courts, at universities. So as we go larger in capacity. It goes to hospital, factories, wet markets, and even farms, recycling facilities, and even slaughterhouses. Of course, shipping ports is also another main target of industry that you should have all this. Of course, our Meiko machines implemented at their premise. Now you can see the container composting. It's one of a kind. You can just, of course, transport it and place it there. You can start straight away. Okay. All right. The compost. Now, what can you do with the compost? You can go for urban gardening. You can go for your farming. If you have a small little orchard behind your home, with a luxurious of space and land space, do that. Composting is very good for your soil, to enhance your soil, to fertile your soil in a natural way. Go away. do away with all the chemical fertilizers. And then the compost, in Meiko, we do a lot of educational programs in schools. The recent one that we have done is at Gamuda Walk. There was a compost giveaway that we had last weekend. Bring your food waste and you can in exchange for compost. Yeah. And the other thing is, the other added value is, of course, like some of our customers who have extras, they would sell it to the nurseries. And for Meiko, we do have a buyback program. So if you say that, if you're one of our customers, you say that, oh, I've got extra compost, what am I going to do with it? Okay, we'll buy back, sell it back to Meiko, right? And some of our customers will do CSR programs. So those are the corporate social responsibility things that we, as a corporate, will do. And of course, added value, it replenishes your soil. Okay, right. In Meiko itself, people ask us whether there will be adoption models that are easy for us to adopt. You can buy directly from us. We have users from the hospitals and schools and hotels which they buy directly from us. We do have our customers who want to rent from us on a contract basis of 3 years. They could rent, and of course, the servicing and the taking care, the maintenance of the machine will be taken care by Meiko. We do have customers who want to lease to own, where we also provide leasing facilities for up to 7 years. Of course, this would have some interest to it, yeah? All right, we'll look into some of the implementation segments that we have over the years. We have implemented in industries like hospitality, and you can see that we have implemented at wet markets. We have also implemented at manufacturing plants where they produce. It doesn't matter. It's not necessary they produce food. We've implemented in places where they don't produce food, but they produce electrical items. Yeah, even toilet paper. Right, and we have also implemented at healthcare, like hospitals, medical centers, property developers. We are very happy to say that many property developers are engaging the environmental concept of being green. They're very sustainable now. They've taken this as an approach for their residents, so that all the residential kitchen waste could be converted into compost for their own urban gardening. All right, then we have implemented at educational centers and also commercials. Now, the other thing that we always want to look at is to create awareness and educational campaigns. This is very important for corporates to engage, where they can gather more of the public to understand this. Like what we have done with Isaac, we've created Clean Our Plate programs. So it's not necessarily just about managing your food waste, but of course, please lower down your food wastage. So that's why Isaac has been working with us over the past 4 years in creating this awareness of cleaning your own plate, not cleaning per se in washing, but please finish the food that you take, right? Okay. Now, here are some of the awards and credentials that we've gotten over the years. We would say that we are very focused in this industry. Meiko are now establishing our of course, our sales into Thailand. We are going into Indonesia. We're now in Philippines. We're now in Thailand. So these are the places that we are looking at as well. So over the years, the technology itself, we've gotten awards. We've even gotten support from Platform, Cradle. They've been wonderful with us over the years. We have also gotten the IP Innovative Excellence Award in Guangzhou, China. So we have now stepped foot into China in 2018. We've done very well in 2019 by creating the awareness. All right. So the other thing is we are now representing Malaysia on a very unreasonable. It's written here unreasonable. It's an impact Asia Pacific program that we've been selected to represent Malaysia in food waste management technology. So the other very we are also very proud to say that we have been selected out of thousands of solution makers. We are the top 10 representing Malaysia last year in United Nations. Just before the COVID, we were there presenting our technology. They are very amazed that it is a 24-hour technology. They are very amazed that it's not selective. It's not selective. You can throw in all types of food waste, and the technology is simple, clean, all-in-one, no other toxic output, just one usable compost that can be done for landscaping. All right, let me just show you a video before I end my presentation. This would be a video that I will explain as I go along. Yeah. Okay, this video was taken a couple of years back when we implemented our machine at the wet market. So you can see they've segregated their waste based on different stalls, the fruit stall, the chicken stall, the veggie stall. And this stall operator tried on putting in. So it doesn't mean that you need to segregate a different machine to put in chicken waste and all. You can just put in everything, vegetables, bones, eggshells, durians even for durian lovers. Don't waste it, put it into the machine. A simple operator, next day, you can just discharge them. It's dry. You can see the discharge, the compost is easily discharged and it's dry. Yeah, so it's easy to handle. Okay, that's all from me today. Feel free to ask any questions that you have before I pass, of course, my presentation to May. Okay, we are open for Q&A session.
Okay, thank you, Miss Chelsea, for a very enlightening Meiko technology, right, for the Earth and for Malaysia. Now there's one question from Rahizat. What is the price and what is the cost to operate the machine?
Oh, okay. We are going on rental basis. The rental can start from as low as 900 ringgit onwards on a monthly basis. If you want, do PM us for the price, because we seriously need to know the capacity required for your premise. And we have a form for you to fill up. We need to do a food waste audit and see what sort of capacity that's required for your premise. You can always PM me, yeah?
All right, another question perhaps, maybe the last one before I pass it to the second presenter. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Can you compost bioplastic in the machine? Bioplastic.
Okay, okay. Bioplastic is a very general term. We can definitely compost 100% compostable packaging, such as those that are made from tapioca, corn. Yeah, we have done several tests already with some suppliers that we want to work closely with. Of course, not biodegradable, please. Please, it has to be 100% compostable. So you have straws made of tapioca. Yes, we can compost that. If you have plates, paper plates, but without the additional grease lining, it depends, of course, that can be composted as well. If you have any packaging that's made of corn, 100% natural, yes, we can compost that.
Okay, one last question I can take before I pass it to the next presenter. Okay, how much compost produced from 50 kilogram of food waste, approximately?
Okay, approximately 20%. So, for example, if it's 50 kilo, you'll basically get about 10 return. So that 10 kilo can be used for your urban farming on your landscaping. So you can work based on that, plus minus, because it's a biological process. You cannot tepat people say in Malaysia, tepat 20%. So it's very biological. It could be 15, 18, 20, 22, 25. Yeah, so it could be that.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Chelsea,
for
all the answers. All right, hope that it can guide most of us with the initiative. Okay, now let me go to the second presenter for today. All right, our next speaker is Miss May Ooi. Miss May obtained her Bachelor of Science with Honours in Biogenetic from National University of Malaysia, or UKM, and her Master's is in Sustainable Development Management at Jeffrey Sachs Centre, Sunway University. She brings with her over 20 years of experience in international sales and marketing, microbiological involvement, and the development of biological methods in pest control for agricultural usage. She is currently the Sales Director of Mentari Alam Eco Sdn Bhd, which provides state-of-the-art technology in food waste composting solution, contributing to circular economy and sustainable development goals, or SDGs. Her role in the company is in R&D of biotech to achieve a speedy food waste composting. She has been invited as speaker in many waste-related forums and seminars, and including being panel in National Waste Management Conference. She believes in the collective effort of every individual in creating a zero waste environment by adopting responsible waste management. Now, her topic is circular economy concept in food waste management for a resilient nation. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss May.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Helmi, for the introduction. Yeah, I think a lot of people know me as Mama Microbe in Meiko because they say Chelsea is more on the business and the development of the technology, and me myself I'm more into the micro part, that means the R&D part. So, but today I'm going to bring about to you on a circular economy concept. I think a lot of people are talking about circular economy in many areas. So what about when it brings back to food waste management? I think it's very important that we adopt a circular economy for food waste management because for a nation to be resilient, this is where it comes in. And you know, food waste management is not like a cup of tea for everyone. But we chose this because we know for a fact that we need to do something. Now, let's look into one very simple question. Ask ourselves, are we doing our part for our children? Now, many people think that out of sight, out of mind, right? So some people would think that, hey, look, maybe this is something I throw out, so I don't see it. But it is important that, you know, we look into this and really ask ourselves. So let's look into the next slide that we're going to have. Okay, so, okay, let me just. So what about this? Okay, do you see my slide? I think I'm having some issue here. Okay.
You can go to the next. Right.
Okay. So a lot of people, yeah, a lot of people are very curious. Every time when we do some presentation or anything, people tend to ask us, does COVID affect food waste? No. Now, COVID-19, the CMCO, the MCO are all happening. So, I mean, practically at a glance, you may think that food waste increased, right? That was what happened when we first being asked the question before any statistic came out. So we were thinking, oh yeah, now people cook more at home, so they eat more. But when the actual statistic came out from a study in October 2020, they quantify the effect of MCO to food waste generation in Klang Valley. We are not talking about the whole Malaysia because there was not enough time for this research or this study. So we actually, have the data from this study that gathered from 12 local authorities and municipal council in Selangor. So there is a reduction, surprised to say, 15.1%. Now, why is there a reduction? You know, people may be thinking. So you can see that 4 weeks before the MCO, we collected the data, and then the statistic, you know, and then 4 weeks after. So really, that is a reduction. And this assumption is made. The research didn't do any waste audit lah. So basically, the assumption is food waste being 40.9%. Now, based on statistics, it could be like up to 50%, but here is based on 40.9. So you can see that there's a reduction. So this is good thing, right? But again, there is limitation. Here, it only shows from the municipal collection site. What about those private, those private, they engage private contractor to haul it to the landfill? No statistic yet as of now. No studies were done. So, but generally, when we look at household plus a few buildings that's all controlled by municipal council, there is a reduction. Okay, we also understand that population is growing, especially just now Chelsea show about the urbanites, right? There are more people coming to the city, but the booming world population can see that it will cause food waste to definitely rise by almost 1/3 by 2030. So it's about like 10 years right from now. But the challenges that we face right now in developing country, especially like in Malaysia, we are still lack of waste segregation. Well, I mean, corporates, probably have practiced this, but a lot of buildings, or maybe we talk about those outside shops and also household, there isn't a very effective food segregation or waste segregation, especially on food waste. Now, a lot of people have this idea or misconception that food waste is non-recyclable. In actual fact, if you put it in a bin for organic, it can be recyclable, like the technology that we just shown. So because of this lack of waste segregation, technically it actually affects us for implementing a food waste effective food waste management in a larger scale. Imagine that all is being thrown together and then pulled to a recycling hub. So the person there or the worker there still need to segregate for us, right? So this technically is quite difficult. Secondly, financially, now we've got to employ more people to do all the segregation again of site, meaning to say pull out and then go to the recycling center or composting or whatever center, whichever food waste management center. The third one is institutional. Whether there's any policy or it's quite difficult, right? Policy or any so-called legislation. I mean, do we have this or is it being followed through? Probably we have it, the segregation, but it's not followed through, then considered not very effective, right? And then economically, it's true again, if it's not being segregated, it's difficult. We have to implement more steps, more steps to have an effective food waste management system. Thirdly, we talk about social, and then there is no habit or attitude change in food waste segregation, and therefore it is difficult, to implement an effective or circular economy food waste management system, because people would think.
From your experience, what is the level of awareness currently among the Malaysians regarding the food waste?
I would say based on
awareness.
That awareness. Okay. Based on some studies that we have, recently, we just take a target of maybe 300 people. I think majority, maybe out of 80%, know about composting, not know about food segregation. But whether or not they have the knowledge and skill to segregate, because a lot of time, even plastic alone, right, have many parts. And food waste, sometimes they would look at it and this is recyclable and non-recyclable. Are they going to be backed up as garbage? So still have this so-called, misinformation, misconception. So awareness is there. Some of them, I would say, like maybe 80% based on our study of 300 people. So again, there will be limitation because we study in urban. So if the study is done elsewhere, maybe it's not. This is another question. Okay, can I just move on?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so when we look at a circular economy or sustainable solution, the bottom line is do we meet the triple bottom line? Now, what is triple bottom line? Basically, when it comes to a solution, a lot of people will think of profitability, or we call the economy prosperity as the first. But over here, we should reverse it and look at, maybe social equity or environment stewardship. So we have to package this together, because the world is sick. We have only one world, and this world does not belong to us. It belongs to our future generation. So we need to do something for our future generation. All right. So social equity, where people are involved, community are involved, is one area that nowadays any solution that come in place, we place them at one of the highest priority. Now then we come to environmental stewardship, and we come to the economical prosperity. So there is where three are together, we can achieve sustainability. So let's look at the solution that Chelsea had presented to you earlier on what we call the on-site solution. So the difference between Meiko's technology and mainly the others, we are focusing on on-site. On-site meaning to say that we settle the food waste on the site itself. Whoever or whatever building or whatever have produced a waste there, we settle it on site. So we do not encourage it being hauled out because of a carbon footprint, because of haulage costs, economically, environmentally. So when we settle this on site, do we actually meet this, what we call circular economy? Do we actually meet the triple bottom line? Now let's look into it. What we have shown here is just an illustration of where first step is separation and segregation of organic waste. Now this is very important. Without any segregation, policy or methods, then the whole thing does not work. Because segregation is where it will and easy and it will less burden on economical. So once it's being segregated, the waste itself can put into any on-site composting machine where it will be valorized, become a high nutrient compost. Now, whether it is for farmer, just now we heard about if it's home, why not? You can also have a compost for home use, all right? So you can have your urban farming, you can have a actual site, like an actual farming. So then it will come back again. Then it become food again for us. So this is sustainable, and this is where the loop is. We call it closed loop solution, and it's circular economy. Now it goes back to us. Now we understand that sometimes we say one person's waste is another person's treasure. Similarly here, in a mimicry solution, meaning to say in natural, somebody's waste has to be naturally will be taken care of as somebody's treasure. Similarly here, food waste, by nature, it would be in this loop itself. So we do not want to have a linear economy. Linear economy meaning to say that the food waste will go, like what is being practiced now, goes to the truck and then goes to the landfill. So this is what we call carbon footprint reduction chain. We can change this. I mean, this is a impact to the nation if everyone or we could adopt this. And it is possible, like Chelsea said, it is possible from very small amount of food waste to very large amount of food waste. It is possible. So let's look at the environmental stewardship. Do you know actually 1 ton of food waste in Malaysian sanitary landfill, based on Siri's calculation, it generates about 426.18. I mean, to be exact, kilogram of greenhouse gas. That means it's a carbon dioxide equivalent. Now, by using Meiko technology, we can help to reduce this. Of course, Meiko technology, we also has this CO2 equivalent, like when we use electricity, that's where, some extremists will say, why you want to use electricity, it is still like not green. But bear in mind, if today we do the wind drought method, it's going to take months. And for urban solution, we cannot expect our customer to have, like a space to do all the conventional composting. We need speed, we need time, because food waste is being generated on a daily basis. So for 1 ton of food waste, by using a Meiko technology process, we only generate like 145. So there is a 66% reduction. So looking at it, we actually comply to environmental stewardship, right? So this is important. Okay, secondly, composting 1 ton of food waste with our machine itself is equivalent to the amount of 398 trees that will absorb the amount of greenhouse gas annually. So meaning to say today, if you have an activity of tree planting, and you hope that you plant 10, 20 trees or 30 trees, to absorb all the greenhouse gas. So looking at it, if there's no chance to do tree planting, why not compose your food waste? Because if you compose your food waste, you are doing almost the same. In fact, if you have 1 ton of food waste, you are like, you have planted like 398 trees, to absorb on an annual basis. So I think it's something that when we look at it, it really helps, right? So, change your mind shift a little bit. When you compose food waste, you're doing something very, very good. I mean, even if you do home composting, it doesn't need to be technology. Someone say, oh, I'm just an individual. What can I do with my 1 kilo of food waste? Why not? If you are 1 kilo, and then we have 100 families, we have 100 kilo, we have 1,000 families, they'll be equivalent to that. So let's do composting, right? So when we look into the economical prosperity, you will see that the compost that is being produced, it actually worth something. It's not like a byproduct that you need to throw into the landfill. No, it's not ash. We don't do like so-called incineration. So the ash is worthless, and it has to be disposed, to the landfill. But here we get something very good, which is a natural soil enhancement. Like for example, Malaysia itself, ourselves, we import, fertilizer worth USD 814.73 million. This is last year's statistic, and then last updated. So fact number one, our study also showed that local organic food industry are still very small, and we import a lot of organic food, like almost 60%. Well, the statistic is 2016. Currently, we don't have updated, or maybe I didn't get it, but we believe that this has only increased a small amount. Now, fact number two, only 10% of the cropping system in Malaysia are using organic fertilizer. Now, as we grow, I would say advance, we now have a demand for organic food more, right? So if we do not produce organic fertilizer in our country, then we will have to import more from overseas, right? So why not take this opportunity to do a circular economy concept on the food waste, whereby food waste itself, once it turns into the organic fertilizer, we can provide it back to our own farming system, to our farmers and all that. So this again shows that, yeah.
Okay, Ms. May, is collective composting practical in the urban community for Malaysia?
Okay. Yeah, so when you say collective, mean we group up to do community composting, right? Yeah, right. It is collective. Later
we have a lot of community, right? Community gardens now sprouting in the urban areas, like that.
That's right. So it is really good. It is really good. And now we can say that they can use a composting machine, or they can use a manual composting. It's totally acceptable in any scenario. So it is very important. So look at social. Now, of course, when it comes to the social part, really there's a full list, full list when you do on-site composting. Of course, I'm just giving you a few examples. Like for example, this practice itself, like just now, Mr. Helmi already said, what about composting by community? Yeah, this practice will help them to have a habitual shift. Now, if a family, they start doing, the children itself, they will follow, right? So even using a technology or using a community way, it doesn't matter. But that itself already help us to have a habitual shift, right? So again, then you encourage volunteerism. So because people start to volunteer, okay, if you do it, sometimes we say peer pressure lah. If you don't do it, people will say, hey, how come you're not doing composting? So you throw your food waste away. Yeah, not so good. So then it is among the community that says, hey, why not we do it together? Or if you do it, and I'll do it. So I mean, we need all this encouragement from each other. So and then again, just how you say about the park and all that, right? It's true. When you have compost, I mean, we have seen, a community that really, even won awards for doing all this composting, and then have their own urban farming. Again, when we talk about social involvement or inclusivity in this composting, if you are talking about the composting using technology or a composting site, we actually provide, so-called the job opportunity. This is important because, as you say that nowadays, people say everybody can fly, right? So now, if you're not flying, then why everybody can compost lah? So this is our objective also. If everybody not flying or not doing anything, then let's compose, right? So okay, and again, we can composting can be a project also for TCs, for university participation in school. We do have a lot of schools that join in this program. Like what Chelsea had said, it's not just the technology itself. Sometimes it's the awareness and the participation. This is where we come in. Where we are different from a trading house. We don't trade a solution or trade a product. We come in as your partner, so-called eco partner. We hold hands with you so that we could give back to the society. So again, many things like we have just said that we also promote responsible food waste management. So let's look at some case study. After talking about so many things, so does it work? People start to question, do you really have installed site? Although Chelsea has shown you some logo and segment, I think it's my part to show you that it works. It is a project. It has been successful. So we just pick up a few of these segments to tell you that well, this implementation is possible. You can start with very, very low entry point. Okay, for example, we talk about commercial. So commercial would be like, the shopping mall, restaurant, supermarket, hotel, etc. Right? Then we have community. Community, it involves also like maybe malls, residents, wet market, school and all that. Then we have event-based. Don't forget, food waste sometimes can move about, right? Like event, I mean, now during this COVID season, we don't have, but when this CMCO is over, likely in the future, we hope so in the future, event will start again, right? So these are the things where we say that there are food waste, right? So let's look at an example. One of the shopping mall in town, they actually have a food waste composting machine. Now, instead of it was a roll bin before that takes in all the organic waste and haul it to the landfill. Today, they have changed the whole concept into a circular economy, a closed loop solution. So they have participating restaurants, and tenants bringing in the food waste, at the end of the business hour. Then they start composting it. So the compost itself will actually give back to the shoppers, and also they give back to their own sister company for landscaping. So let's look at other commercial area like supermarkets, hotels, So we have seen, one of our customer, Sunway Resort Hotel, they actually tackled it on the spot, whereby food waste doesn't go out to the landfill. Okay, then it become a learning ground for even young children, students, and all that. So we can see that there are many hotels, and even the one picture you see here is just next to their freezer. At the back of the kitchen, they can actually so-called settle food waste. So even small restaurant, a chain restaurant can do that. Why not bigger corporate, right? I believe that people are moving towards that. Let's look at community. Okay, so we have a wet market, we have schools, so where you can see that this one of them is in a school in TTDI, and then we have school children really into it. We have more and more schools are on board with us because they believe that awareness and education comes from since young, right? So we also have like wet markets and food courts and all that. As you can see, here we have community. Wow, SS20 residents are really doing very well in their composting. That's why we say, can community do it? Can collective effort do it? Definitely, this is what we have been doing, right? So event-based means like tapak food truck, we have Pasar Malam, Ramadan streets. All these generate a lot of food waste. Although this year our food waste statistic dropped, but for the years to come, Malaysia is a heaven for food, right? Then we have tourism. So this is where, right, we believe if you can't go to the composting center, right? So why not we drive the truck and mobile composting to you? Why not? Because events are here and there, right? So composting truck is one of the key thing that we can do in so-called circular economy concept for food waste management. Right. So, I mean, before I end my sharing, I just want to say that let's choose the path that's more sustainable rather than choose the path that goes to the landfill. Let's choose the path that can give back, not take from the environment, but give back to the environment. And what we have here is really an urban-centered closed loop solution because we meet two very critical elements in doing waste management. Number one, for food waste management, time is one critical issue. It has to be speed. Home-based, okay, but commercial-based, industrial-based, it has to be speed. That means 24 hours is a very, very good timing. Then space. We cannot have big space to do that. So a very compact solution like what we have is really the so-called solution for you. All right. And of course, with all this, we meet the SDG goal. The country is moving towards achieving what we have pledged for SDG. So in the United Nations, so we have like SDG 11, 12, and 13. We contribute to climate action as well. So I guess with this, I'd like to thank you for your time and hope that I have shared some of the knowledge that I know to you and changed some of the mindset to start doing responsible food waste management. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Helmi.
Thank you, Ms. May. Very informative presentation with regards to the food waste management by using the Meiko technology. can say that. All right. So I think we have a few minutes left for this session. So I would like to open up to the audience for questions. If there's any question that would like to ask the presenters, it can be either to Miss Chelsea or to Miss May. So please write your questions in the chat box or the question box. So if there's any question from the audience, I'm just wondering just now, maybe Miss May or Chelsea, yeah, the content of the compost fertilizer, does it contain the elements of NPK or things like that? That is usually part of our fertilization.
Yes, let me take the question. We do have lab tests on the NPK itself. Of course, organic compost definitely cannot beat the chemical because the N itself is being determined by adding in the chemical itself. But here we do have the NPK, and very, very important in organic fertilizer is the organic matter, the compound in there, the content. So we are very high in that. That's what they really need.
All right. Okay, any questions from the audience? Maybe Miss Chelsea, what's your projection or what you can see is going to happen to the Malaysian mind or mentality towards this food waste management in the future? Is it going to be something? Yeah.
I think the most obvious thing that's happening now is after the recent pandemic, we find that many people are more taking care of their hygiene, of their kitchen, and how they produce preparation of food in the kitchen. So over these months, we have been getting very, very positive inquiries. I can see that people are now creating and developing the awareness on how, and also looking into solutions to handle their food waste at source. In that manner, we're also proud to say that we are now looking to a very circular economy business model where rental is being, a rental model is made available for everybody who is headache free, And in moving to the future as well, working and creating all this awareness has also triggered many councils, municipal councils, and many other organizations, even government, to look into this and tackle it in a larger scale. So we are here open to work with and collaborate with partners who are willing to work with us hand in hand for a better tomorrow for Malaysia and for the nation.
Okay, I have a few questions coming in. Okay, maybe the last few, because it's already at 3, all right? Are the cardboard, sugarcane, bagasse, oil, palm, EFB, empty food bunch or bunch food containers composted in the 24-hour cycle of the Meiko machine?
Okay, so, May, I think we have over, we started taking care of this test since end of last year, before the COVID started. We've been testing on EFBs. We've also been taking testing on plates that are made from leaves, from tapioca, from corn. Yes, it can be composted. We have from PLA as well. We have also tested the materials like PLA. Some will, of course, if the thicker materials and stronger ones, will take about 3 days. Even in our machine, it will take 3 days to compose. But most of them are 24 hours.
Okay, so yes, thank you. That's from Mr. Lim. And one question from Aisha. Does Meiko machine need to put enzyme every month or week? Or on a regular basis?
Putting enzyme, yes, but not daily, not weekly, not monthly, but quarterly. All right, we need to replenish it every 3 months once. You don't need to do it every day. It's going to be an operational cost to the user themselves. So we have made it in such a way that every 3 months once, just to replenish.
So it's every quarter. All right. That's okay. And there's one question from Mr. Ala Garani. What does it take to mobilize food waste management via municipality? The municipal council. What does it take to mobilize FWM via municipality?
Mobilize it. Oh, okay. Mobilizing it is what is the question? Maybe to say that how can you basically kick off something with the council? Can I say that in a simple term?
Yes.
You want to kick off
The municipal council, correct?
I think the municipal councils now are very open to suggestions. We have actually also presented ourselves to many councils, to the north, to the south councils. You need to work with somebody local. We are willing to work hand in hand with that person if it's available. Sir, if it's you, then we can work hand in hand and see that we can find a place where we can build up a centralized facility if that's required by the council. So that can be also done. All you need to do is speak to them, and we can share our thoughts with them again and propose whatever is necessary to table out something that will be suitable for that particular council itself.
So it requires regulations, right? When we are talking to the municipal council.
Now, regulation is something I always stress. I think the recent media, I did stress that policies, regulations have to come in. Legislations do have to come in. We are stressing very hard for the federal government to see whether they can work together with us on this, so that we create a better and cleaner nation, tackling that source. Not necessarily they have to use Meiko technology, but tackling this can be of various approaches, which we are willing to help as well.
Okay. Okay, besides the fruit bunch just now, what about the other items like cardboard, biogas, the plant fibers, and the EFB? Is it applicable to those kind of items or materials as well?
Yes.
To be composted in the 24-hour cycle of the Meiko machine.
Yes. If you're talking about okay, what the materials like cardboard, yes. I mean, let's not put cardboard into the machine. The machine is supposed to take organic waste, but cardboard that has been things like, for example, your pizza box that has been oily and dirty since you finish your pizza box. The pizza box can go into our Meiko composter. Now, if you have other carton boxes, do recycle them. That will be another channel that we should do. In terms of we were saying EFB. As I say, EFB, we've tested even on May. What's that? May, what is that? Besides EFB, there's something. May, you're muted. Sorry.
You're talking about the cake, right? The
yes.
Yeah, that one can be composted less than 24 hours. So what we are saying that even though some of the compostable items, if they are listed as compostable, but not necessarily they can compose within 24 hours. So we need to send it in for us to take a look. But of course, most of them, like made from wood, bagasse, or even bamboo or paper, corn, or any food grade, food product can be composted within 24 hours. The true one, unless it's mixed with something.
To be sure, if you have those things, if you are actually producing that, please send us some samples. We can do the test for you as well.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Kind of simple. Okay. One final question. Residents associations, how can they engage? Okay, Miss Alagradi is from PJ, so she wants to know how she can get this going in her residential area. Who to contact, or maybe who to?
Of course, if you want to adopt and do it quickly, get a couple of houses to commit to this and gather their food waste on a daily basis. Rent a machine from us. You can start from small, doesn't matter. We have smaller machines as well. Give May a call. She can always assist you to start and kick off within your residential community. We are there to help you also on how to use the compost on all your plants, your flowery plants, or if you want to do vegetables and fruit. So do the last one. I think we had a session a couple of days ago, 2 days ago. Yeah, May. I think we were looking at a residential community that actually planted pomelo. It was fantastic with the compost that they had turned out from the machine itself, and how many residents were involved. They have about 30 to 40 houses involved in this. So that's how you can start.
It's very wonderful to see those crops coming out from the fertilizers used as part of their project in the urban community.
Within their residential area, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we've come to the end of this seminar or the webinar. Thank you very much to our presenters, Ms. Chelsea and Ms. Oi, for
Thank
sharing
you.
the information from the Meiko and technology, and hope that this can serve as a new paradigm for us in embarking a journey towards food waste management. With that, thank you very much. See you again. Nice and happy weekend. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.